It's 3, but it's been encouraging, and I really think that obviously being year 2 in the system helps, and also with us having those 2 hours in the summertime. I think that was very, very valuable for us because you can speed up the install, and you can also I guess the recollection for the guys. You know what I'm saying? It's not being so new to them, and they flying around. It's been pretty impressive.
Devontae Brown provided this secondary
Stability.
Yeah.
He's a guy that he's always out there. I mean, I know Coach Gibbs talks about it all the time. When the DB can kind of disappear throughout the course of a game, probably doing a pretty good job. And so he did that a lot last year. He's doing it now. But the times that the ball comes his way, he's able to make plays on the football.
Yeah, looking at corner, you think that's pretty much set? There's some competition there. I mean, obviously we know Corey and Devontae. We got Brandon Addams has been in the mix. Is that still a battle? I mean,
so really,
what's the competition looking like?
We played all 3 of those guys last year. BJ came along, and then him and CT kind of battled it out a bit, which all those guys are always competing. But we really see all 3 of them as starters. To be honest with you, all of them are going to play as long as they continue to improve like they are. And then you add Kari in the mix, you add Nakai in the mix. So we got a good room, and it's a lot of competition. So that's always good.
The length that those defensive backs that you have. You mentioned the height. Talk about invaluableness. Against a lot of these offenses, at least this final year in America, but how invaluable is that to have that physical build that they possess, to have the football gifts?
It's very important, and obviously me playing a position, I'm 5'8", 5'9", and I've never been a guy to say, hey, I want to go get a 6-foot guy, 6'1" guy. But as last season went on, I really realized how important length is. And it's just that margin of error. You know, if I may mess up at the line of scrimmage, and I'm gonna get there in time to make a tackle. Those guys may mess up, but they're long enough, and just the catch radius of the receiver and the quarterback, it really shrinks that a lot.
You talked about how important this summer was, especially this practices for maybe these freshmen. You mentioned getting to work with them, so you're not working for the first time once August is. How have those guys look? You talked about Nakai. I know Nakai was here a little bit in the spring. You talked about Kari. I think he had an interception. One of the guys mentioned that early on. I think with the first practices, he made a play. How are those guys been looking?
So in 3 practices, he has 2 interceptions. He has 2 interceptions, but all 3 of those guys, because Nakai, he was here this spring, but he was kind of banged up a bit, but he's healthy, ready to go. And all 3 of those guys, Nakai had a pick in yesterday's practice as well. So those guys, they're out there competing. It's like they do definitely belong. I can tell you that.
Will was talking about the Henderson brothers, where they have come from a football background where they possess this work ethic.
Yes.
That when they've come here, it hasn't been shocking because of the football that they've played.
Yep, I think it's the football that they've played. They've played at a high level in high school, but the biggest thing, I think, both of those guys are competitors, and they don't want to lose. So it doesn't matter what arena, what stadium, what field you put them in, those guys are going to compete, and they're going to work their tails off and show that they belong. And I think that's the biggest it factor that they both possess for sure.
What's it been like recruiting for this program since you arrived? Obviously, we know UCF's made a big splash here this summer, moving to the Big 12. Hometown Heroes have been a big success. What's it been like as a coach on the recruiting trail and recruiting a lot of these guys who are going to be future Knights?
It's been awesome. It's been challenging at times too, but like Coach always say, we're changing the narrative here, and I think a lot of guys are starting to realize what we're building here. And the biggest thing for us is getting those guys on campus, and especially the local guys, we can get them over here quite a bit, but anybody, once they get on campus and they get the feel and they get, coaches are down to earth, and when they start talking to our players, and the same guy that they're getting recruiting, that's the same guy that you're going to get in coaching. I think that's been pretty important with us, just the relationships that we've been able to build.
Did you think that you had that same knowledge base prior to getting to UCF in terms of the campus? Because having been here as long as I have, that's the thing I've always said, and it crosses even other sports outside of football. If you can get them on campus to see this, is that a huge bargaining chip?
That's huge, and you wouldn't believe how many times I've heard from parents, aunts, uncles. Man, this place looked like a resort. You know what I'm saying? Because most schools you go to, they were built in the 1800s. And they may have a new building or two here and there, but once you go on this campus, the school is so new, everything still looks new. And so it's really huge and a good benefit for us to get those guys here.
You went to South Carolina, right?
Yep.
So what was your recruitment like back in those days?
Nothing like it is today.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I was like, well, how did you commit to South Carolina? You have a little ceremony, pull a hat out of the bag. How'd that work?
I called the coach, say, hey, coach, it's time. I want to commit to you guys. I remember the day like it was yesterday, man, but it's totally different now. We didn't have all the social media and all these guys doing these parties and Instagram and all that stuff. No, it was none of that, man. But
letters and phone calls?
Letters and phone calls. That's all it was. I don't even think we had text, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was just calling. Oh, that make me sound old. I'm not that old. Yeah, I don't think we had text, man.